Good morning. How are you all? It's a beautiful and bright sunshiny day, which I see on your faces as well. So, is it time to be awakened? I think perhaps that's true. I am awakening. I am awakening. I am awakening to light. I am awakening. I am awakening. I am awakening to life. One life in which to make a difference. One day where I can make my start. One love to share with all the planet. One that will follow my heart. I am awakening. I am awakening. I am awakening to life. Yes, I am now. I am awakening. I am awakening. I am awakening to life. Tradition, one mind to clearly make my choice. One soul connecting with all others. One song, one people, one voice. And why? Because I am awakening. I am awakening. I am awakening to life. Yes, I am now. I am awakening. I am awakening. I am awakening to life. Every morning when I look out my window, the sun is shining over my day. Even though I may not see it, it's still shining on every way. Whoa. Why is that? Because I am awakening. I am awakening. I am awakening to life. Yes, I am now. I am awakening. I am awakening. I am awakening to life.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Wasatch Spiritual Center. My name is Reverend Lanna Cairns, and I am the Community Spiritual Director here. I love to be here. I was in Japan for a couple of weeks, got back 3 p.m. last night. I think it's 2 a.m. I've been up since 4, but I'm ready to go. I don't know what time it is right now, but it's a time to be awakened, time to see such beautiful faces at our beautiful place here at the Other Side Village. I'm always so grateful that we get to be in this wonderful facility. And thank you, Brian. Thank you, Joanne, for getting all this technical aspects. Thank you, Gary, for being here. So we're always just so grateful. So our philosophy is called religious science, and our teachings are called the science of mind. So next year we will be celebrating 100th year. And it's interesting being in Japan and looking at Zen Buddhism again. It's been around since 600 AD. So they have a big stretch ahead of us in leadership of teachings. So what we believe in is that our thoughts have the power to shape our lives. And we believe in one idea, that there's one power, one presence, one energetic vibration. And when we know that and feel that and allow that to lead our lives get to change in a way that we can possibly not even imagine, whether it's with love or abundance or peace, inner peace, outer peace, that these teachings affect our lives, that we absolutely change our thinking, we change our lives. I had a minister once in the Napa Valley who once said that you're one thought away from your good. And so we just simply pivot to our truth of who we are, that we are born in the image and likeness of the One, an expression of that One, and our lives change in a way that truly sometimes we can't even imagine how things unfold when we work together with the One Spirit, whose impetus is one of goodness, of kindness. So we believe that our thoughts have the power to shape our lives. We believe that as we build a community together, we align with that, and things flourish in ways that we can't, again, even imagine. So we believe that our thoughts are the power, that we align our hearts, our minds, our being with that truth, and world peace is possible. I belong to Interfaith, and we were asked a couple weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, why we come. And I said, I know world peace is possible. I know that every time I'm here, I experience something of the sacred. And I love being with people who believe in something that can help and guide them in this journey. So our teachings are mystical. Our teachings are reflective of so much that we know of, that we also look at how, our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, said that there's a power for good greater in the universe, greater than us, and that we get to use it. So that's what we do here. So this Sacred Sunday celebration, we do this through prayer. We have the lovely Carol Harris, who blesses all these chairs. We have a prayer box that our ecclesiastical team, there's a couple of us, pray on, but we just don't pray for that week. We think about you all the time. So once you pray for someone, that person really becomes part of your energetic and your consciousness as well. So we welcome you here to our Sunday celebration. So about 3 weeks ago, we do something called Sacred Share, where we talk about how these teachings have changed our lives and where were we before and where are we after. And so someone said, how about you, Reverend Lanna? How about you do the Sacred Share? And I said, I thought I got off the hook because I have everyone else share about their journeys. So I'm going to share with you my spiritual evolution, and hopefully it won't be more than 10 minutes, but it may go over, and I hope it doesn't. So I was raised in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, so, big Catholic community, Anglican as well. I was raised Ukrainian Catholic. I went to Germany after grade 12 on a Rotary Youth Exchange and had a real mystical experience at Hildegard of Bingen, who was a very famous female Christian mystic, abbess, political advisor. They say she invented the musical scale, herbologist, doctor, a profound teacher in medieval times in Germany. And when I came back, I decided I'm going to be a philosophy professor. I loved ideas, I loved teaching, I loved thinking. And then one summer, my first summer, I took a class called The Philosophies of India, and it changed my life. Never had I heard of really Hinduism, even though we had a folk festival back home. Never did I know of Buddhism or Jainism, and so I immediately did a double honors in religious studies and philosophy. So I've been studying these teachings since I've been 18, and I'm only 30, so it's been a short time. So that's a joke. I have to always preface my jokes because they're so bad. But anyways, it's been a long time. And then I did a master's in religious studies out east in Canada. And I looked at Buddhism, and I wanted to study Buddhism deeply. And my Buddhist advisor, who is the Sanskrit teacher of Canada, keeps people there for 4 to 6 years for a master's. And I said, I'm in and out in 2. So I looked at contemporary Buddhist practices in the holistic healing movement, and that was my master's thesis. So I've always been a seeker in these teachings. I just love having a life of reflection. And so when I moved to Los Angeles, I was at the Zen Center for many years on Normandy. I had an old vehicle that barely got me to the Zen Center, but it was very patriarchal. I didn't see one female leader. So that was an interesting journey. But then I came to Agape. I was in a very difficult relationship with a musician, and I left him with no money, and I moved into this studio apartment in Sherman Oaks that was beautiful, and my next door neighbor was a member of Agape. So I always say God doesn't give you another chapter of your life, God gives you another volume. And I went to Agape one time that she cajoled me, and she took me for lunch after, and I said, this is my spiritual home. So it's very much a religious science community, independent as well. And beautiful teachings, thousands of people. You would get there for meditation, and there would be like 300 people. The services would have 2,000, a huge bookstore. Like, it was just God on steroids. And then I moved to the Napa Valley, and I became a practitioner there. I was going to go into ministerial school 19 years ago. Instead, I married my minister's cousin and moved to Salt Lake and had 2 kids, and I've been here now. So I've wanted to be a minister for 20 years, and I've just finished everything January 28th. And I also just got my license with Emerson, so I finished my oral and written examinations, so I'm double loaded, and I'll probably start my doctorate of divinity after Christmas. Once we get up and running, I can only do so much. I have 2 kids in high school still. My husband has a job that's demanding, so we're all doing the best we can. But all I know is that these teachings have changed my life. I think where I came from, and I came from a nice middle-class family, but who I become, I greatly attribute it to these teachings, to the community, to the people I have. My whole wedding was full of members from the Napa Valley Church. So, friends that you meet here are truly friends forever, they feed my soul, that we build a community, as according to a Buddhist teacher, the Sangha matters deeply. And so we're really creating a community of people who love to be together, who are kind, who are respectful, who live in hope and joy, and that's the community that we're creating. So these teachings have really been profound in my life, and they always keep getting more. I never get tired of reading. I never get tired of these teachings. I'm always inspired by them, or inspired by the Science of Mind magazine or the Daily Word from Unity Village. I just love how these teachings show up in my life all the time. So thank you for listening to me. That's my sacred share. Onward and upward. I think enlightenment's around the corner, so I hope that's the case. But I'm grateful to be here, grateful to share with you my journey. And today's sermon, we're going to look at Zen Buddhism and Science of Mind. I was so deeply affected by my trip to Japan. I thought I'd better not talk about Punch the Monkey just yet. He'll come in a couple of weeks, and we'll talk about Zen Buddhism. So now I'd like to bring Joanne Jacobs to do our reading, a meditation, and our community prayer. Okay, thank you so much for being here.
So thanks for coming out to be with us today. The reading today comes from the Science of Mind book, page 284, The Great Search. Faith is real to the one who experiences it and cannot be denied to the mind of the one who has proven it. And what is this faith we should have? We should have faith that there is but one mind. This mind is both the mind of man and the mind of God. We use the mind of God since there is but one mind. This mind is the essence of creativeness and the essence of goodness. It is available to all. It is no respecter of persons since it has already incarnated through all. It is in all and through all. Faith will not be denied, will not take no for an answer. It speaks in affirmative language. Faith knows that the universe is a spiritual system, that man is part of this system. It knows that man's environment is also a part of this system. Because the system is perfect, the condition may become perfect and would be perfect if it were known to be so. Faith knows that life of man is God, the birthless and deathless reality of all being. Faith looks to the invisible, and instead of seeing a void, it fastens its gaze upon a solid reality. Faith is not hope, it is substance. It does not look away from itself. Being substance, it looks within itself. In doing this, it realizes that the life of God is also the life of man. Faith affirms this and denies anything and everything that contradicts what to it is the supreme fact of existence. Faith is essential to effective mental treatment, but this faith should be one of understanding. So faith may be said to be scientific. That it is, we are now dealing with a principle that has been defined and we know something about the way it works. We know how to use the law governing it. Faith in this law helps us to use our understanding with greater conviction. So just take a moment now to connect with the part of you that can experience you as perfect, whole, and complete. At the core of who you are, There is a wholeness, a perfection, and completeness. Take a moment now to experience that wholeness and that completeness. In this space, allow yourself to fully experience having faith in yourself to move through your life and to build your dreams. Have faith that all things that you experience in life are building skills to amplify your life and that you are moving into an expanded reality that brings you even more joy, more love, more connection, and more life. For the next moments of silence, just really take the time to connect to yourself, experiencing having faith in yourself as you build your dream life and really feel it. Knowing that God, universal energy, is all there is in this world, take a moment to see this universal energy as a bright light white all around you, a place where all creation takes place. Feeling the allness of this light that is also you, dissolve the boundaries that create you separately and experience being the light you are in. This light, you in this light, are the source of all creation. Continue to experience the emotions of faith and believing in yourself, knowing all things in this life are ultimately serving your highest and best good. Again, how are you experiencing having faith in yourself? Move into believing in you. Really connect with this life experience you are having now. What does it look like? How does it feel to experience this version of life? Coming back into your beautiful body, bringing all of this in with you, knowing that all guides, steps, and actions moving forward in your day-to-day life are leading you to this life that has begun in this moment, from meeting new people, to taking specific actions, to resting and just loving yourself and being in community. Everything in every moment moving forward is leading to this end. You have faith to fully experience your empowerment, your true self, your faith in you. Knowing this is truth, I feel gratitude for the universe larger than me bringing this to fruition. Releasing it to the universe, I allow myself to show up in gratitude daily and move forward in faith and joy, knowing it is done. As together we say, and so it is.
Why is learning to love yourself so hard a thing to do? Why is knowing that you are complete and whole almost impossible for you? Why don't you believe that you are truly enough, just the way that you are? And why can't you see you're not broken, just bruised from the path of life this far? Open your heart and let everyone in, and leave the door open wide. When you learn to love yourself is when you let yourself inside. You can learn to love yourself. Whoever you may be, when you finally take a good look at yourself and see all that I can see, open your heart and let everyone in, and leave the door open wide. When you learn to love yourself is when yourself inside. Learning to love yourself is the most important thing to do. To share the love you give away and give some back to you. Learning to love yourself is the most important thing to do. To share the love you give away and give some back to you. Learning to love yourself is the most important thing to do. To share the love you give away and give some back to you.
Well, that's always a hard act to follow. I have to say, I'm so blessed to know you, Gary, and I always thank Mike Boltz for this wonderful introduction. I'm deeply grateful to... Yeah, arigato gozaimasu. That means thank you in Japanese. Konnichiwa. It took me 2 weeks to learn 5 words, but it's a start. It's a language, that's for sure. So thank you for that. I wanted to go through our mission and vision statement. I forgot to do that at the beginning. And Brian, if you could pull that up for us, and if we could just say that together, and it kind of situates who we are. So together, our mission: to create an expansive community of love, of healing and connection through compassionate spirituality to better ourselves and serve the world. And our vision is to awaken and empower the sacred self within all to uplift humanity. So beautiful, thank you. I always think of Carol Harris guiding this, Gail guiding this, Lori Barr. We had so many people really guiding that, and I'm always inspired by that mission and vision. So, as many of you know, I kind of write my sermons as I'm about to, the night before, the day before, driving, editing. So I was going to initially talk about Punch the Monkey. So when we were in Japan, he's now this internet celebrity who was abandoned by his mother. He has been rehabilitated by the zookeepers. Before he was born, the zoo had maybe 100 people. When I was there were probably about 3,000. And everybody's trying to see Punch the Monkey. But my husband said, you cannot talk about Punch the Monkey with this great Japanese culture. So Punch is going to be on pause for a couple weeks. But I will talk about Punch because I'm in love with him. I stalk him on Instagram. And then I thought I'd talk about diversity and just how with the gay pride, all the pride festivals around the world, traveling, connecting with people, that we're all one, in this fractal of divine expression. And I thought, boy, I could talk about that. And then as we were traveling through Kyoto, we started in Tokyo, beautiful, made New York look like a village. But we were in Tokyo for a while, and then we were in Kanazawa. And I'm going to talk about D.T. Suzuki, who was a famous Zen professor and eventually a monk who brought Buddhism to the West. And we went to his beautiful museum, his dream museum, a house that I love, just nothing in it but 5 books and a mug. So decluttered completely. Then we went to Tokiyama, which was the sake wine festival of places to visit. And it was very spiritual there until we went to Kyoto. And Kyoto is very big, very lot of tourists, but temples upon temples. And we had a private tour of 4 temples one day. And we went to a very famous temple by a Zen monk in 760 AD called Bodhidharma. And we went to a beautiful, through the bamboo forest to the Zen temple. And then we went to Hakone, which I'm so impressed that I can remember the 5 cities I visited. And there just really had a beautiful time with all the udon, the baths, something, but these hot mineral baths that you take. But today I wanted to talk about Zen Buddhism and its relationship to science of mind. So sometimes I think I am a Buddhist, my DNA is Buddhist, but I function as a religious scientist. I always go back to that teaching, and I think I'm going to bring more of that into our community because there's such wisdom, such a deep practice of thinkers, of believers. And I wanted to show you, we went to one temple that had 1,000 Buddhas. And a Buddha that was so large that probably could have filled half of this room on a lotus flower, and a monk chanting the whole time. Incense, like if you had asthma, my husband has asthma, he was having his puffer as he was going through the incense room. But to see these Buddhas was so inspirational for me. So I thought today I want to talk about Zen Buddhism and its influence on science of mind. So this isn't going to be a history lecture. I'm not going to talk about Zen versus science of mind. But what I want to talk about is that Zen Buddhism is Zen Buddhism, and science of mind is science of mind. That they arise from different times, different cultures. Here we have Buddhism starting in India with Theravadan Buddhism, which was very into doctrine and being intelligent and reading. And then it segues into China and the influence of Taoism, which is where Zen Buddhism originated from. And they called it Chan in China, and then it morphed into Zen Buddhism in Japan around 700 AD, where our faith started in 1880-ish in New England. So completely different cultures, completely different times, different languages, and they point towards truth through different forms. And yet when we listen deeply and we practice both and feel both, there is a sense of a shared message in both of those. So Zen invites us into direct awareness. Science of mind invites us into conscious alignment with the divine law. We talk about the law in our teachings, that you have a thought, it goes into the law, it plants into the law that is automatic, impersonal, intelligent, and it creates a form. Zen is about awareness. Zen is about the spaces between our thinking where there's just peace and harmony. Because Zen Buddhists believe we either live in the past of regret or the future of hope, that we simply do not live in the present moment. And when we cling to either reality, past or the future, we tend to suffer because it's of wrong mental alignment. Zen says, wake up. Science of mind says, awaken and create from that awakening with the one. But both of those teachings call us back into the presence of awareness, into the presence of love, into the presence of the divine law. So I have some quotes from D.T. Suzuki, who was a very influential Buddhist teacher. And then I'm going to read some quotes from our founder, and you'll see how they align. So D.T. Suzuki said, Zen is not a matter of learning, but of unlearning. He says to be truly human is to awaken to the infinite. He says when you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you. And our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, says this, true peace comes from within, not from external circumstances. We must learn to let go of the past to embrace the present moment. And lastly, he says, in stillness, we find the clarity that leads to understanding. So the essence of both teachings are to be fully present. And Zen, it stops at that. We take it one step forward to be present in what? Knowing that the one leads and guides and sustains your life. But both are relevant. So Zen Buddhism is a school of Mahayana Buddhism, and there's 5 different schools of Buddhism, but the Mahayana Buddhists, they are called bodhisattvas, meaning they come back after they've achieved enlightenment to come back to help others. So the Dalai Lama they call it Vajrayana Buddhism in Tibetan Buddhism, but it's a form of Mahayana Buddhism. And so is Zen. It's from Mahayana. And it emphasizes direct experience over doctrine or teachings. Its central concern is not that we believe, but what we realize in those moments. So Zen asks us to notice something simple and profound, that the mind is often noisy, restless, grasping, judging, comparing, like Gary's song today, how apropos, learning to just love who we are. We live in stories of a life that we should have had or do want, but we're really not present to what we're experiencing. And Zen Buddhists believe that this attachment is the creation of our suffering. So Zen asks us to become still enough to see clearly. When I was in this community in Los Angeles, you would sit and there would be no meditation instruction. You would just sit. And you would meet your teacher once a week, once a month. You would have to schedule it. And they would ask you questions. Where is your mind going when you're sitting? Does it go to regret? Does it go to aggression? Does it go to sadness? Does it go to depression? Where does your mind go to, is what the questions they would be asking. So Zen practices in seated meditation. It trains us to observe the mind without being ruled by it. Thoughts come and go, emotions arise and pass, sensations shift. Sometimes, you'll feel a pain, and when you bring awareness to that pain is gone. This is what one of our teachers in Science of Mind, Phineas Parker Quimby, who had a disease, and when he was riding on this horse in this chariot, this kind of wagon, the wagon broke, and he rode his horse back home. And he said, I felt such joy and freedom, I didn't feel pain. And he goes, we must have 2 minds then. If one feels pain and one feels joy, what is really real in my body? So even the early founders of Science of Mind were questioning this as well. So in the Zen Buddhist tradition, they believe something remarkable happens when you have space in your practice, that we begin to discover this spatial awareness that is not trapped by every passing thought. Every thought leads to something, but when there's space, you can see and perceive something. I studied with a teacher, Ruth Dennison, in Los Angeles, who was in a book called Buddhist Women in America. And she said that when you sit, the longer you sit in silence, the more peace one will have. So I would go on these meditations. I was working, I was single. I would go 3 days, 4 days, 7 days, 10 days, whatever I could do and afford. And it would be interesting that the energy going down to the Joshua Tree area, I would drive frantically, and I would come back like traffic never bothered me. So it changes you. It brings peace in what you do and where you go. So Zen is often suspicious of spiritual grandiosity. It says wash the bowl. It says sweep the floor. It says drink the tea. Ram Dass says be here now. Jack Kornfield, a Buddhist teacher, has a book called After the Ecstasy, the Laundry is Due, or After the Ecstasy, the Laundry. It's not because ordinary life is separate from enlightenment, but it's because it's really where enlightenment is found in the ordinary moments. So the tone and spirit of Zen Buddhism, they often ask deep philosophical questions with what is one sound, what is the sound of one hand clapping? Because they believe common rationale doesn't get you there. It is this awakened moment where they call them satoris, where someone has an enlightened, a zeitgeist, a satori, an awakened moment. So a student can ask about ultimate reality, and the master could point out to a cypress tree in the courtyard. A student asks for truth, and the answers come in silence or laughter, in paradox, or a blow to the ego certainty of what is. Because Zen recognizes that the thinking mind is useful, but it's limited. So that insight matters deeply for us as science of mind practitioners. We speak eloquently about God, of mind, of love, of wholeness, of truth. But at some point, this has to become a realization. This has to become our path, our journey. It must move from concept to consciousness. And our teachings are very heady. Our teachings would be more aligned to Theravada Buddhism. But what we do is we internalize and feel and let that lead our way, right? Remembering that there's only one. Remembering that if you have conflict with a neighbor, a person, a politician, that when you get into the duality nature of life, it causes suffering. So we have to slow down to feel, to experience that oneness leads and guides us all the time. So what is our teaching, Science of Mind? Founded by Ernest Holmes, it's a spiritual philosophy that teaches there's one mind, one power, one intelligence, one essence, one source, and we live and move from that presence. We're not separated from God, that we are expressions of that one life. So everyone here in this room is the face of God. And sometimes that is a spiritual practice when you go home for Thanksgiving, or when you see someone on TV who unravels you. That is the practice that we do. So Science of Mind teaches that the universe operates according to spiritual laws. And by aligning our actions with that truth, we live a life of harmony. And that manifests in so many ways. So what we place emphasis on are 7 things: the unity of all life, the oneness of all, the creative power of thought, that our thoughts are creative. When I look at Gary's songs that he writes, that he has tapped into something within himself that lets him speak and share in that way. We have a spiritual practice. We pray, we meditate, we affirm our truth. We talk about personal transformation. We talk about a direct realization of the one all the time. So Ernest Holmes drew these teachings from Christianity, from Hinduism, from Buddhism, from New Thought, from mystical traditions, and yes, with Zen as well. So where does Zen and Science of Mind meet? So they're not identical. Zen generally does not speak of God in the same way Science of Mind does. Science of Mind is more affirmative and metaphysical. Zen is stripped down, less interested in naming the ultimate reality. Zen never talks about God or the essence or the source. And yet they meet in powerful ways. Number one, that they believe both of these teachings, there's direct experience over one's belief. Zen says, do not cling to a doctrine, but to awaken in one's practice. Science of Mind, we say, truth must be demonstrated, not merely admired. Both traditions have distrust for mainstream religion. Both asks, what are we experiencing? What are we living? How has your spirituality changed your consciousness? Both insist that spiritual life isn't about performance. It's about a realization. The second thing that they share is the importance of consciousness. That Zen pays close attention to the mind, how it wanders, how it grasps, how it stays attached to certain forms. Science of Mind says that consciousness is at the center, that we say change your thinking, change your life, change your experience, elevate your consciousness, and life reflects that. So we're all about moving into a greater understanding of this truth. Now, the two traditions frame things differently. Zen does not say, think positively and the universe will deliver. Zen is more interested in freedom of attachment of our thoughts than thoughts itself. Science of mind is more interested in the creative use of thought, aligned with spiritual law. Zen teaches us to become aware of thought before trying to use thought, and that is a profound difference. Number 3, they both talk about the presence as a spiritual power. Zen teaches about a radical presence, that everything you desire is in this moment. This moment for Zen practitioners is the doorway to truth. Science of mind, what we teach is that the presence of God is here now. Not somewhere, not someday, somewhere else, but it is here with us. And when these insights come together, we see that it's inhabiting consciousness in its fullest way. Zen teaches, and so does Science of Mind, that practice matters, that we just don't come on a Sunday and think our lives are going to change, that we read, that we pray, that if something is heavy on your heart, we have a prayer box, that we hold you in that consciousness, and the bells of heaven ring for us. So Zen is disciplined. You sit down, you breathe, you observe, you think. Science of Mind teaches that we practice, that we use affirmations, that we meditate, that we contemplate, that we are steeped in gratitude, that we have spiritual study, that we lead in conscious intentions. Neither path is transformed by the occasional inspirational status, but insight must be practiced until it becomes our character. So Zen reminds us that awakening is embodied through repetition, humility, and practice. And Science of Mind reminds us that spiritual laws respond to the clarity of our consciousness. Together they tell us that practice isn't punishment. Practice is participation in this one. So here we go, a healthy distinction. Zen does not teach in a personal God or a metaphysical God, where we teach that a creative principle is at play in all that we do, that the universe teaches this consciousness, participates in how we experience reality. So if Zen has influenced Science of Mind and Ernest Holmes, it has done so best not by replacing theology, but by redefining its depth. And Zen invites Science of Mind these 3 questions. Am I using our spiritual teachings to awaken or just to control the moment? Am I grounded in the presence of that one life, or am I chasing outcomes? Am I listening deeply through enough to hear what life is saying to me now? These are sacred questions. This is what it means for us today to come into a community, that we live with intention and we also live with surrender. So when we pray in our teachings, we don't pray for that job on that street, for that perfect partner who looks like this, does this. We pray for that essence of that person, of that experience to come forth in ways that we can't even imagine. You know, I look at my husband being a scientist, living in Utah. There's so many miracles happening in your life. I never would have married a scientist. You know, and here it is the best thing for me. So your soul has its own way of moving through things. So we can use the creative power of consciousness and yet be free in this moment. We can pray affirmatively and yet still sit in the silence. We can claim truth and yet release attachment to the form. Excuse me. And we can seek healing and still accept the moment is where God is. So Zen tells us to be awake. Science of Mind tells us Be awake to your creative unity with Spirit. Zen tells us to let go. Science of Mind tells us to choose consciously. Zen tells us that reality is here, and Science of Mind tells us that God is here. And perhaps together they whisper, be still enough to know, and clear enough to live with what you know. So let's pray together in this moment. So I know in this moment, in this sacred connection with the One, just a deep gratitude that we live in a country where we can express these beliefs, that as a woman, I feel free to express what's in my heart, that I truly never take any of that for granted, that I am aware of the good that is before me. So I recognize in this sacred moment that I am calm enough and mindful enough and aware enough to feel that presence of the One lead my life, guide me in all that I do, that expression of the One is deeply abundant, so beyond creative, so incredibly intelligent, so deeply compassionate and loving, that the impetus of spirit of that One is simply one of love. Love of giving, of expressing who it is for all of creation, for the inanimate, the animate objects, that there is simply One expressing as the One. So I am unified with that Reverend Lanna is unified in that flow. And I know if I am, I know everyone here is. I know that everyone here is breathing in that one life, that the breath that we have is God's breath, that the money that we give and share and enjoy life with is God's money, that the thoughts I have, that we have, are God's thoughts, that the life that is mine, the life that is yours, is simply God's life. So in this moment, I realize the goodness that is happening here at the Wasatch Spiritual Center. I recognize just and realize the flow of that One in being in this beautiful building, being affiliated with the Other Side Academy and Village, for all the people that brought us here, for the talent, for the technical people, for the ecclesiastical wing, for our board, for the people that hold this consciousness of the center thriving and growing is happening now. And I claim it in this sacred and divine moment. That all that listen and hear are transformed, that peace enters their lives, that abundance is theirs to claim, that loving relationships with neighbors, with husbands and wives and kids and family and co-workers are happening now, because love leads the way as we serve the One in this deep and goodness and kind way. So I'm thankful for this moment. I'm thankful for Zen Buddhism, just bringing us into this sense of space between our thinking, where we can feel and penetrate that one life that births us, that gives us this Atman, this chi, our breath. That I am so thankful for Ernest Holmes, for Science of Mind, for this faith that we call religious science, knowing that our thoughts can change our lives. I'm grateful and thankful I know it. And as I place this beautiful prayer into the arms of Spirit, into the arms of the law, into the machine, the servant of God, it's already rippling out and taking effect on the west side of Salt Lake, in Salt Lake Valley, in Utah, that these teachings are alive and well with all those who enter and feel this presence of the One. So I simply let this be, knowing thy will be done for the highest and best in all that we do. And together with a loving and open and generous heart, we simply say, and so it is. Amen. So just a couple announcements coming up. We have a beautiful concert that Carol Harris will be hosting, and we're all going to help organize this July 16th. A beautiful New Thought musician will be making his kind of debut in our valley. He'll be in Park City a couple days before, so he'll be here. And we're going to get on the marketing with all of that. We have meditation now. Today was our first time. We had 5 people, so that's lovely. At 9:30, we have Diksha the last Sunday of the month. So things are getting going here at our center. So it's really lovely. Classes, again, will be starting up in a couple of weeks, too. So a lot going on. So our offering today, we have a QR code in the back. So you're welcome to share with that as well as here on the screen if you don't make it over there. We also have wasabi and matcha Kit Kats from Japan. So help yourself, but only take one. Hopefully we have enough. And in gratitude, I just want to quote a wonderful teacher called Thich Nhat Hanh, who was a beautiful Buddhist teacher. He passed away maybe a year or 2 ago, but he says this, and normally I make a joke, but this is a serious one today. He says, our actions are our only true possessions. They are the ground on which we stand. Thich Nhat Hanh spent his life serving all living beings. He worked tirelessly towards transforming suffering, healing wounds, building communities, and fostering peace throughout the world. So our givingness is just by being truly who we are. So thank you for that. Thank you so much for coming today. And Gary will close us up with a beautiful song. Thank you. Namaste.
As always, we remember that we are participatory in this song. It's not Gary doing the song, it's we are doing the song. And hopefully I'll get the lyrics right, which is a challenge. So don't pay any attention to those lyrics over there. I'm doing the right ones when I sing. No, I'm kidding. Those are the right ones. Love be with you, peace enfold you, Spirit lift you, breathe it in, truth come through you, let hope to you, let joy renew you, till we meet again. Let's rock out. Love be with you, enfold you. Oh, I messed it up again. Love be with you. Ooh, love be with you. Ooh. All together, hand in hand, we see the light and take our standing. We are changing a whole new life for you and me. We take your life and set it free and share this blessing. Love be with you, enfold you, and spirit lift you, breathe it in. Truth come through you, make love flow to you, let joy renew you, till we meet again. Love be with you. Ooh, love be with you. Ooh, yeah, love be with you. Ooh, love be with you. Love be with you. Peace enfold you. Let spirit lift you. Breathe it in. Truth come through you. Make good flow to you, let joy renew you, till we meet again. I can't hear you, love be with you. Ooh, love you.